Hello, ladies and gentlemen. So we are back just as I promised. Yes, we had a little detour along the way. Life happened. And I was just taking a break, learning to take it all in, but we are back and we just have some exciting conversations coming up. So if you don't know, the name of the channel is A Pink Bow Experience. We do conversations about life, living life as a woman, stories about women, empowering women and men and young boys, young girls. So we all about sharing your story. So we have the beautiful Maxima here.
Hello.
So Maxima is here and we are just gonna jump in and just start our conversation. We are so excited for you to share your story, Maxima. Thank you.
Thank you for allowing me to share it or have a space where I feel comfortable.
Yes, because that is very important. A lot of times we do have so much to share, and so much to say, but sometimes like the spaces that we can be in can be a bit intimidating. And kind of quiets us down when we want to speak out loud. Have you ever been in a place or in a space where you have felt just a little bit intimidated and you wanted to speak about something, but you were just like, I'm not sure about that?
Always, especially in high school, getting to know myself and discovering myself, throughout everything that I experienced in life and had to do it on my own and always having to feel like I didn't have a voice up until now.
Yeah, I mean, it is a process. And as I was like rethinking on how to do a pink bow experience, like how to make it mine, not how to do it, but how to make it mine, how to make it my personality, and also something relatable to other people, something that people can relate to and feel comfortable with. And one thing that came to mind like right away is like music. Music has this way of making us feel like safe in a space. Like I can put a soundtrack to different seasons of my life and different stories because music gave me like a safe space to cry or just to like listen to something that I didn't have like the words or the courage to say.
No, I agree. Music is one thing that I do love and enjoy. And even when I'm having my bad days, I put my one song that will, make me think about everything, or sometimes, if I need a little pick me up, I got my confidence song where I'm just like, okay, I got it. I knew I was a baddie.
And there's always like, it's so funny you say that because I literally have like playlists that is like, it represents a type of mood. Like, and I just play that music. Like there is this Spanish duo, I forget their name now. Oh my God, it's gonna come to me, but I'm gonna put them in the description box. But when I feel like in my feelings, like my heart hurts and things like that, or I have gone through a breakup, I put them on repeat. And it is just so good. It's just like, oh man, these are the words that I feel, but I couldn't say. You got them, girl. I'm just gonna be just bobbing my head to these lyrics.
No, I agree. I got my one song, Needed Me by Rihanna.
Tell me about that song. How does that make you feel?
Oh, that song, it made me feel empowered because it's like, ooh, I did everything right, and now you're gonna, see me leave, and you're gonna realize what you missed out because it's like you needed me, and now when I'm gone, you're gonna realize that you did needed me.
Oh yes, it's like because sometimes it's that real, right? Like we said, like music just has a way of creating a space, and like I always appreciate artists that are bold. Like Rihanna is very bold, girl singer. And it's like, oh man, this is how I feel, but I just didn't have the words or the lyrics or the music to put into these feelings. And it sometimes be so right on that you just like, man, this is perfect. It's the perfect song for this moment.
No, I agree. Sometimes what I will do is on Instagram, I'll post like the words that I want specific.
Right.
That way everyone can hear it too, spreading wisdom around.
Right. Here, get touched by some knowledge.
Right?
So one of the things that we are doing different in a Pinkball experience is that we are asking like our guests to pick two songs that they can relate to and two songs where they can like tell their story, like why this song, like why do you pick this song, why are they considered your favorite songs, and what stories can you tell from listening to these songs. So the first one is The Night We Met, featuring Phoebe Bridgers by Laura Huron. Did I say that right?
Yes.
Okay, so let me look up the lyrics. And to be honest, I have never heard of this artist, but I like this song. I like it, and I thought. I mean, like I know you, so I was like, man, this is very fitting. It's like very like Maxima personality. So tell me about this song. Why this song, The Night with Me?
So I listened to this song on a show based on Netflix, The 13 Reasons Why, which talks about suicide and all of that. And this song was in one of the scenes when he was thinking back about her, like all the memories they had, and just wishing that he had another day with her before, she left the world.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was very unexpected, like why she had done it, and everything, and she left evidence behind, like what led up to it. And this is one of the songs they play a flashback with her and them together, hanging out, creating memories. And I really love it because of the tempo, the beat, and then also because of the relationship about suicide and all that, because I relate to it as well at one point in my life.
Tell me more about that. Like, how has suicide played a part in your life?
So when I was in middle school, I went through a traumatic experience. I was in sixth grade or seventh grade. I can't really recall. You know how the memory is when you try to.
It blocks it.
Yeah, it blocks the memory. So I remember it was. Sorry. um, but yeah, that experience that happened to me, it happened, while I was sleeping, and I couldn't defend myself. I couldn't do nothing. And then I had woken up because they were, doing something to me. And from there, it was just something dark I had to go through. I trusted someone and I told them about it, my mom. And I love her so much, but at that age, I felt like a lot of anger towards her because I was like, oh my gosh, she failed me as a mom. She's supposed to protect me and care about me, and she wasn't there for me. Of course, she did say something. She was like, you got to move out, leave, and everything. But that really didn't change because he came back into her life again, and we got a whole apartment with him. So I was like, I had to adapt from that. So I told a couple of my friends, but again, I've never told any other adult besides my mother. And from there, I started to get like darker and darker. Like I got negative thoughts, and I wanted, not to be in this world anymore. I was like, nobody will miss me. I was like, my mom probably won't even realize, because I was like, she doesn't care. She allowed him to be back in my life, and she didn't do anything to protect me. So I'm like, why would she care if I'm not here anymore? And I was thinking about like ideas. I'm like, how should I, end my life here? Should I do it with pills? Should I cut myself? And I think like it was this day, it was just very dark, and I wanted to hurt myself so bad, but as I got closer, I was like, oh my God, like I love myself. Like I can't, you know, do this to myself. And I saw like the light in me. And that's when I decided like I have to continue living for myself. I can't let him win. I'm like, I have to continue fighting. I know I have my own back. You know, I got to push through for Maxima. I was like, Maxima, she deserves to live. Like, something told me like, you're not, like, this is not where it is. Like, you have more to continue. So that's why that song is special, because it's like, it reminds me of everything, and it's like new Maxima with old Maxima.
Yeah. And I mean, that's one of the things about just traumatic events, like especially if you have been sexually abused or just emotionally abused. Um First you go through this, you disconnect from the event, like, and I think when that disconnection happens, you go through to a very dark place, like a place where there is no hope, like things lose their meaning. You just going from moment to moment. And I think like when I was listening to the song, the one of the lyrics, and like we're not gonna read the whole thing because we can get copyrighted. um but one of the lyrics was, one of the lines was, I am not the only traveler who has not repaid his debt. I've been searching for a trail to follow again. Take me back to the night we met. And I don't know, just like that story of like you had this moment of meeting yourself and saying like you are worth fighting for. I can definitely understand why this is your song, and why this song has such profound meaning. Can you tell us more about how was that, like, because somebody might be struggling right now and they just don't know how to meet themselves. How did you came to that realization that you were worth fighting for and your life was worth keeping?
So I remember I had told a couple of my friends, and it was very hard to tell this story without crying when I was younger. Like every sentence that came out of my mouth, I would be like shaken just thinking back in the moment. And again, feeling like my mom wasn't there for me, even though she said she was there for me. So I felt trapped and alone. But a lot of my friends were reminding me, like, we're here for you, we care about you, we're supporting you. And I know a lot of them meant it, you know, with their hearts and everything, but it wasn't the same. Like, it wasn't like, oh, they were coming over and visiting me. So, at the same time, I felt alone. So it's like I had people like telling me it's okay, but it wasn't the type of okay I needed or the type of reassurance that I wanted. Like I wanted somebody to like either get me out of the situation or kind of talk to my mom and like, you know, open up something in her eyes to be like, why are you doing this? Like, how could you allow this person to still be in your household when they just did this to your daughter? Um, and for the longest, like I said, I felt anger towards her. And I think it was just from being so dark and dark and dark, I started thinking about scenarios like who would miss me, who would be at my funeral, and stuff like that. And then I looked at my siblings, so I love them so much, especially my brother, because we have always been together. So I felt like I did it more for them, like to continue and to show them like nothing in life can knock you out. Like you'll be okay. And I wanted to show to them that no matter what happens in life, like they can continue fighting and everything is gonna be okay. I do hope that one day I tell them the truth. That way they kind of see why I am the way I am with them or why I'm so tough with them. Um, because that way they'll be able to understand me a little bit more. But I realized like I can't leave them behind. I knew they were gonna miss me. I was like I knew I was a role model, and I was like I can't leave them And then also it was like I realized my worth at the same time. And I thought, and I was like, I can't let him win either. Like, I can't let him take away my innocence and now take away my life. I was like, that's not fair. I was like, I have to keep going, even if I don't think right now that it's worth it. But I just kept reminding myself, like, you have to keep pushing. You have to keep pushing. Like, one day you will be out. That's all I kept telling myself. That one day.
And I mean, it is a lot. Is you come to this moment, the most evilest thing that somebody can do to another human being has been done to you. And in the eyes of many people, like, they can say, like, oh yeah, you have the right to take your life or do this and things like that, but you chose to live. And I think that's something that a lot of times we don't tell survivors of sexual abuse to do. Like, you can still survive, and you not only survive that moment, but you can live. And for you, it seems like you took, you looked at your siblings, you said, like, hey, I can be the one to set a standard. I can be the one to say, like, even when the toughest and most cruelest thing has happened to you, there can still be a tomorrow. But I know that there was that moment. But how do you do it in every day? Like, how was that process for you? What were the thoughts that you had, conversations you had with yourself? Because there is the moment of, like, I'm choosing my life. I'm choosing to be an example for my siblings. And then there's every day after that. So tell me about the every day after that.
Oh, it's taken so much to get where I'm at. So right now I can definitely say I am in a better place than I ever was. Um, Also, I feel like I'm no longer afraid anymore. And how I got here, it took a lot of healing, a lot. Um, During high school, I was very quiet. I wasn't outgoing. I never spoke out like that or anything like that. I was friendly with everybody, but I was still discovering myself because I felt like my innocence was robbed. Like, I never got to enjoy my childhood. Like, I had just gotten out of elementary. Middle school is like a stage where you're getting to know yourself and discovering yourself. And I felt like I had to grow up. Like, my innocence wasn't there. I was like, I have to grow up. I felt like I had to mature quick at my age. And even now, I think I'm like, oh, it's so unfair because I do feel like I am mature for my age. And a lot of people do say, like, oh, you're mature for your age and stuff. And it's like, sometimes it's a reminder because it's like, oh, I didn't get to enjoy my childhood. But at the same time, it's like, oh, okay, at least they think, I'm mature and all that. But thinking back, it was very hard, like I said, because I had to deal with seeing him every single day. So even after that happened, I had to pretend like it didn't happen at home. And I remember my mom saying, like, don't tell anybody. And I felt very disappointed in her because I was like, what do you mean don't tell anybody? Like, you're not supposed to tell me that. Like, I thought you were going to be on my side and, choose me over him. And even when I had my big conversation with her, she couldn't understand why I felt betrayed by her. Like, she was like confused as in why I didn't feel like I didn't have her support at all. And I had to literally scream it to her with anger because I'm like, how do you not understand how I don't feel supported? Because when I really needed you and I really needed you to protect me, you weren't there at all. You decided to, oh, it's okay, but he comes back with the gift and stuff, and it's okay. It makes everything okay when that's not how it works. So I had to deal with seeing him every single day. And I promised myself that I would never let him see me have a dull moment. Like, I'm like, if he sees me, it's going to be either I'm smiling or I'm laughing, because I can't let him win. I was like, I can't let him think that he has control over my life, that I'm going to shut myself down and I'm not going to allow myself to have light in me. And he would get so upset seeing me so happy, and he would do stuff like cut off my water, or take my clothes out of the washer or dryer machine, or complain about the smallest things to my mom and want me to do it now. And he continued to do that, and I felt, now when he does that, I feel like I'm at a bigger step than him, because I'm like, he does all that and it doesn't irritate me now. Like, I'm like, I don't care. Like, you can complain all you want. I'm like, but at least I'm not miserable having to do these little childish tricks and acts just to get my attention or to mess with me, when it was all him. He's the one who did this. He's the one who harmed me. He's the one who caused, some of my trauma in my life. And the way I like to think about it is that my story related to him is not all of my story. Like, it's only part of me. I feel like everything that I've been through in life, I don't regret going through it, even if I could go back, because it has shaped me to the person I am today. It has made me into the proud woman that I feel, because it's like, I am strong, I am brave, I have been through so much. And I think back and I'm like, wow, I wouldn't be enjoying life the way I'm enjoying it if I had decided to take my life when I was in middle school. I was like, I would have missed out on all these adventures, on all these people. And I hope that with the people I do interact with today, that I impact them in some way. Just like I wish somebody would have for me. And like I said, it took a lot of healing. I got into crystals, my stones that I wear around my neck all the time. I feel connected with the world and more grounded. I did a lot of journaling, so that helped a lot. And then what kind of helped my healing was talking more about what happened when I was in a childhood. And one of the problems was write a letter to the person who broke your trust. And for me, I decided to write that letter to my mom. I didn't read it to her, but I burned it, and it felt very nice, putting it out there. But what really, I guess, helped me a lot with my healing was the fact that I was able to talk to my mom. Not in person. I don't think I would be ready for in person, but I did it over the phone. It got really heated, but I finally told her everything. I was like, how I felt from the beginning, how I felt that she took his side, how I felt alone, how I felt that she failed me as a mom. And I know it hurt coming from me, and I know she was crying and everything, but after that conversation, I felt like a weight lifted off my back, and I could breathe again. And I was like, finally, like, I've been wanting to tell her all this since the day it happened, and I just never had the courage to do it until now that I felt like I was in a better place, mentally, physically, spiritually, and everything.
Wow. I do, like, as you are telling your story, one of the questions that keeps popping in my head is like, how do you get to, how were you able to get to the mindset of like, there's something wrong, I need to heal and I need to get better? Like, how did you do that? Like, where did it come from that you needed to heal from this experience? Because there are people, they just take it as normal, like it just happens to me, it's because it's just the cards that I was dealt with, so I have no control over it. But it seems like you switched the script and you said to yourself, somehow, like, I do have control over it. I can heal from it. Can you tell me more about that journey? Like, how were you able to get there, to get to that mindset of like, I can overcome this? What were some things that inspire you, or like spark uh, uh spark like the start of a healing journey?
For me, it took a lot. during middle school, I was acting bad. I had my rebel year. Um, Behind my mom's back, I was drinking alcohol already in middle school, just trying to find a way to cope with it. And that was like, I guess, my outlet to kind of, disassociate from what had happened, to being a child and also discovering myself. So my friend had a mom that she wasn't really at home a lot, or really didn't care what she did. So I would go always to her house to hang out. I would just be like, yeah, I'm going to go over her house. And we would always drink, sometimes smoke cigarettes. And I think we stopped being friends at the end of 8th grade because she moved away. So in middle school, it was like I really didn't know that many people, so I couldn't, have an outlet again or anything like that. I think I remember I had smoked some weed, and trying to get into that to kind of, again, find an outlet to understand what's going on, just to kind of numb myself from reality. Like, I was like, when I was smoking, I would be like, I'm in another world. Like, I can dream of another world where that didn't happen. And I realized, like, that's not the path that I wanted to be in. Like, I don't want drugs to help me cope with what I am dealing with, because at the same time, it's like I'm numbing it and I'm just simply pretending like there was never an issue, or like it never happened, when I know I have to face it in order for me to heal. I think I started watching like videos. So TikTok became popular back then. And I was watching a lot of videos and they were talking about like healing and stuff. And I started to read more about it on my own, like how to heal, um, deal with your trauma, do shadow work, which means like you write in a journal. I started trusting more adults around me, because I didn't really start my healing until after high school, I will admit. So after high school, being like a 19, 20-year-old, that's when I finally started my healing.
And this is like, this is 7 years after, because it happened in the beginning of middle school or at the end of elementary.
The beginning of middle school.
So this is like 6 years after.
Yeah. And it took a lot to admit, like, to want to do it, because a lot of my friends would be like, you should go see a therapist, like, I'll take you, like, you don't even need insurance. And I'll be like, yeah, thank you, I'll look into it, like, don't worry, like, I'll look into it. So I'll always tell them, like, I'll look into it, but I never did. I never have.
What were you afraid? It was a fear, or just like the stigma in the Latin community of like going to see a therapist and like sharing your business with strangers? Or
I think,
what do you think it was?
I think I was afraid of them telling me, like, oh yeah, you have depression, or oh yeah, you have this, like being labeled with something. That's what I was afraid of. Like, oh yeah, you need to take medication. Like, that is one thing I didn't want to have to do. Like, I don't want to have to take medication or anything like that. And I didn't want to be labeled as that either, because anywhere that I would go, they would see that I was depressed if I went to any facility involving doctors. And I didn't want to believe it. Like, I didn't want to say, like, I am depressed, I am dealing with these issues, you're right, I am. I was afraid of that.
So it was just like too soon to embrace the reality of the after effects of the trauma.
Yes, it was. And I knew that if I didn't want to, well, again, like, it took me a lot to want to even try to journal and all that, because I would see videos about journaling and prompts, and I'm like, oh yeah, it's nice, I should do it, like, it could really help me. But little by little, I started being open, bought a journal, and just, again, during that time, I was in college and I was struggling a lot mentally. I got to the point that I was failing all of my classes, because I felt like the issues were more coming to surface now as I was growing up. Like, I would have days where I couldn't get out of bed, and I'm like, I don't want to go to school, I don't want to do nothing, I just want to stay here and sleep and be in bed. And it'll be hard to motivate myself and to do school. But what kind of made me wake up from that was because I had really done badly in school, that my GPA dropped really badly, and they had given me a warning, and they were like, listen, if you don't, make good grades this next semester, you're gonna get expelled from all universities in Georgia, and you're gonna lose your financial aid. So that's what kind of like woke me up, and I was like, oh my god, like I have to get my stuff together. Like I know I'm dealing with these stuff, because I would feel burned out in college. I'll feel like, oh, I'm tired, like I can't do this anymore. So I would have rough days, like really rough days. But I realized, and I was like, I have to keep pushing. I have to keep pushing, and I did. I studied hard. I did really good in all my classes. And next semester, I got all A's and B's, and even made it into the president list for the university. So I was very proud of myself, because I was like, oh my god, like I did it. Like I almost got expelled from Georgia, from all colleges, and I'm like, and I did it. Like I was able to rescue my semester, and I struggle a lot. And I did like a 2-year degree, but doing a 2-year degree for me, it was very hard, because I was struggling mentally very hard. So it took me longer to finish. And at one point, I didn't even want to finish anymore. I was just ready to be done with school and just work. But I had one last semester, and I was going to be done with school. So I was pushing, because I'm like, I'm almost to the finish line. Like, I got this. I'm almost there. And I did it. I got my degree. I got a teacher position, and that's where I met this woman who really has helped me a lot get started more into my healing journey. She would always tell me to journal. She gave me a journal book for Christmas, and she was like, I want you to like put everything in here, like talk about your day and everything. I started looking up more like prompts to write about, and more into crystals. Like, oh, what can this one help me in? I carry them around now. And that's how it all started, from one little video and from more people being around me that really did love me and were, sentimental about the story that I told. Like, they weren't like, oh, I'm sorry. Like, no, they were actually like giving me advice on how to like heal, how to move on, how to let go. And I remember she told me, because when I lived in my house, every time I would go out with my friends, I would always hide what I wear, because he would be around, and I felt kind of gross. I'm like, I don't want him to see me like in the way that I want to dress, because it's like he already has done so much to violate me that I can't allow him to like, give me that look and made me feel gross about myself. But I remember she told me, and she was like, the day that you don't hide yourself from him is the day you know that you have grown and that you have healed, because you're no longer afraid of him. But because that's holding you back, I'm like, that means you're giving him a little bit of your power. But I'm like, but the day that you do that is the day that you are not afraid of him, and he will feel so small, because you will shine completely, and he will see that, and he will know that no matter what he could.
Good advice.
So now,
that's good advice. Facing your fears, like one of the things, like as I shared with you before, like I come from the Christian faith. I'm a Christian, and like that's one of the things, like the Bible says, like facing your fear, standing against like evil and trusting in God. So I mean, I think that's a great advice. In many cases, like when we go through just like traumatic experiences of abuse, or just like abandonment, like fear becomes this overwhelming force in our lives. And if we don't take hold of fear, if we don't say, hey, you will not control my life, fear will take over. It will be in the smallest things, and you will be stagnant. You will be in a place forever, repeating a cycle. So the fact that she said that, when you just the image of that, like when you reveal yourself, you are able to tell fear, you are able to tell this person, I do exist. I am of value. You don't put your value on me. I am a value. because I am a creative being, and I come from the belief that you are created from the image of God, and for her to like put that over your life is so powerful.
And I live by that even now, because I'm like, now I can be around and not care what I have on. Like before, I used to care. Like I used to double think what I wear. I'm like, what am I gonna wear? And I thought it was sad that I had to think about what I had to wear in my own
Mm,
house, because I'm like, this is my home. Home is supposed to be the place where you feel safe
say,
and
yeah.
you're able to, wear what you want because it's your home. And I was like, it's sad that I can't do that. It's sad that I couldn't feel welcome in certain areas, or I was avoiding, having to see him completely. Like, oh, if he's eating, I have to go eat in my room because I don't want to see him. I don't want to eat in the same table. Whereas now it's like it's okay. Like he exists, but like I don't really care what he does. Like he can be anywhere and it wouldn't affect me. It's not ruining my mood or anything, and I'm still doing what I am doing. And I know for a fact that, everything, I'm a big believer in karma. And I know that
Mm,
one day, he will be, everything that he's done in life will come back. And I've always tried to be nice with him, regardless of what he did. And I should be the one who should have hate for him, and I should be angry
mm.
at him, and I should treat him with disrespect. But yeah, I don't. And I'm very proud of myself because I feel like I didn't go down his level. Like he wants me to go down to his level, and I have not for the longest. And I think like that's what hurts him the most, that I haven't and that I won't.
You are so awesome. I remember I think when we first met, we just had a special connection. We just connected right away. And so like you guys don't know, but we work together. So in our job we do a lot of overnight trips, and we get to spend a lot of time together and create a lot of intimate moments. And I think for us, I think we had other moments, but we were very vulnerable with each other. But I think one of the moments that I will never forget is this summer when we were in Colorado for a trip with the kids. We were sharing a tent. It was raining outside, so we couldn't go anywhere. We were up in the mountains, away from civilization, and you were able to just share your whole story. And I just like I couldn't like, not because I felt pity for you, but just the vulnerability of that moment of you sharing your story. And I was able to tell you like things of my story. I couldn't stop the tears. They just kept rolling and rolling, and I was like, oh my god, can I stop? um but I think there is something so powerful, not only when women come together and share their stories of triumph, like triumph, um, but when humans come together and share their story, there is this sense of vulnerability. Like, I have gone through something like this. And for you to be able to like tell me that story, I was like, oh my God, I'm not alone. You always know that it has happened to other people. But sometimes like when we talk about music, there is not words that we can put together, and when somebody tells us their story and they are able to put these words together, it's like something breaks. This feeling of like I'm not alone in this feeling of togetherness comes full circle. And I truly believe that that's why we are here on this earth. To kind of just have this journey, this experience together. We are all hurting in some level, and what can break those binds is vulnerability. Um, Tell me about just being vulnerable. Before you tell me, I want to read another lyric. of this song by Lord Hurer. I think I'm saying that right. Hurer.
Huey, let me see. I gotta look up the spelling again.
It's Huron.
Heard. I want to say Heard. Huey. Sorry, we butchering the name.
Okay. Sorry, man. We don't mean to butcher your name. But and I want to jump into the other song that you picked too, because I think it's gonna transition us to who you are today. Um, so when the night was full of terrors and your eyes were filled with tears, and when you have not touched me yet, or take me back to the night we met. I just like reading that aloud, it makes my eyes tear and it gives me like it's just such strong lyrics.
That's
It's so strong. Like the many alarms we have in our lives. When the night was full of terrors and your eyes were filled with tears, and when you have not touched me yet, or take me back to the night we met. What does this like words mean to you?
For me, honestly, this whole song, it's like if I was talking to little me, like to the girl that got hurt when she was in middle school, and it's like me, adult me now, right now, I'm talking to her. And
Right.
because honestly, when I was younger, all I wanted was somebody to just hug me and tell me like it's gonna be okay, you're gonna be okay. So I feel like now with this song, it's like I'm telling little Maxima, and I'm like, it's gonna be okay, like you're gonna be okay, like I just want to give you that hug that you wanted from the beginning, like that hug that you wanted to feel secure and safe for once after that all happened. Because that's honestly what I wanted. I just wanted to feel safe and like someone cared and someone had my back. And I was like, that's me now. Like I have your back and I'm protecting you and I'm going to love you and I'm going to tell you it's okay. So that's what those words mean to me when I hear them in that song.
Oh wow. That is so powerful. Yeah, that is so good. So you pick another song and it's by let's see, it's by Willow Smith. And it's called Female Energy Part 2. So let me look up the lyrics. Okay. So is the first line is, "Oh, I am falling into the arms of naked truth. Not surprised to see the sky and only think of you." Why this song?
So this song, I love this song so much. Like whenever I am feeling down or like I have my little sad days, I put this song because it reminds me of all the growth I have done since it all happened. Like it's like I finally faced reality. I finally told me like the real truth, what happened. I finally am admitting it. Like I'm like, this is, part of my story. Um, and it's like all the work I have done to get here, to feel the peace that I feel now. Like I would have never imagined that I would get to this point in my life where I feel at peace with everything I've done, with everything in my life, and just taking it one day at a time.
That is a beautiful journey. So another part of the lyric is, "Tell me how I am to feel. Tell me how. I don't know if I can chill. I need to scream it out loud."
So for me, that one is like expressing my anger, like not being afraid to, feel it. Like I am allowed to feel anger. I am allowed to feel how I feel because of what happened. But just because I have all this, anger that I let out doesn't mean that I have to transform it into something negative. Like, yeah,
Mm,
I let it all out. I screamed it out. I told everybody how I felt about it, and I said my piece, and I'm okay with that. And each day I look at it with positivity. Like, I'm like, why would this life that I have is not long. So I'm like, why would I
Mm.
live it being miserable and just hating everything in life when I can show up each day and make somebody's day, or just make somebody laugh, or, living life with positivity and always looking at the light of every single day. Like, I always look for the sunlight, and every single day, no matter what happens, what I've been through, if I got bad news or if anything happened in life, I always look at it with light in my eyes. Like, I'm always like hopeful. Like, I will never lose hope. Like, I have hope, just like a butterfly. I want to fly and have hope.
I love it. And I can definitely attest to that. Like, you are always in a good mood, always smiling, always like laughing and things like that. And nobody, if they see you, nobody will guess like your story. Nobody will could say like, oh, she has this traumatic past. Um, because there is like a radiance to you, there is like a light of hope, and you do change the room when you come into a space. So it is a beautiful transformation, for coming from this place of you felt abandoned, you trusted in your mom and you trusting other people to help you through this moment, and you couldn't find hope in them. But then you transition into this healing space of like, there is hope. I have my siblings to think about. I have the little girl from my past to heal and think about, so she can flourish into a woman that can empower others. Um, so if you can put these two songs in a playlist, what will be the name of that playlist?
Oh, let's see. What would be the oh, that's a hard one. It would probably be Transformation.
Ooh, that's
Transformation.
good.
Because it's like, if you hear the first song, it's like a sad little tempo. Like, it gets you thinking to like the really dark moments that you don't want to think about. But then you listen to the
Right.
second one and you're like, yes, I need to transform. Like, I need to be that the best version for myself. That's what I always tell everybody. You got to be the best version for yourself. Nobody else but for you.
I love it. And like this song by Willow Smith, it closes up by saying, "Light up this time, light up this time, oh, oh, oh." So I mean, that is perfect. Like the playlist transformation, and just like having that last, motivation. Like, girl, it's time to light up. It's like time to let the world see that you have survived this dark moment and that you are here to just make a difference and shine. Oh, oh, oh. So we are coming to the end of our conversation, but I do want to give you the space to speak to the next generation of girls, the next generation of boys, older women. What would you like to say to them?
I would honestly say that no matter what obstacle you go through, no matter what event happens in life, and even if you have depression or anything like that, no matter what you go through in life, that you should never lose the light in you. Never forget, you know, you in there. Like, don't let it be forgotten, because if you do, that's when you start going into negativity, or just thinking that you shouldn't be in this world when you're supposed to be here. That's what I thought one point, that I wasn't meant to be here, and that nobody would miss me, and that why was I put in this world for. But now, with what I do at my job, I love it so much, and I feel every day like I have hope, and I'm always like, I want to impact somebody's life. Like, I want to be the reason why somebody continues, or if they needed that little pick me up, they know that I was there for them and that somebody heard them, because that's all I wanted. So if I could give any advice, is that don't lose the light in you. Fight for that light in you.
Light up in time, light up in time. Oh, oh, oh. I love it. Maxima, thank you for sharing your story. And we know that this story is going to break generational curses and it's going to help the next generation of girls and boys. So thank you for being part of the A People experience. We hope to see you soon, and we hope that you come back and share other many other stories and words of wisdom that you can share to the masses. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I hope everyone stays safe virtually. But thank you so much for allowing me to share my story, because I know personally this wasn't easy. I've let a couple of people know in my life, but nothing like this where I could record myself and like post it out there without being afraid of being heard, or anyone being like, oh my God, I know her and she went through that. It's like I'm not afraid to tell my story.
No, you are so brave. Thank you so much.
Thank you.